Hello, this is Shai, and today on The Joy of CAD, we will discuss layer tools and the Layer Properties Manager for AutoCAD 2017. Layers are used to separate out the specific components or features of a drawing. Hand draftsmen used to use clear mylar sheets to achieve this effect. They would draw various components on each mylar sheet and then stack the sheets together for a complete view of the total project. For this demonstration, I will use the Layer Properties Manager and the Layers panel located within the ribbon of the Home tab. Please note that I've already popped out my Properties Manager, my Layer Properties Manager. You can see it's highlighted here in the Layers panel, so that when I hover over it, my Layer Manager pops out. That's achieved through the Auto Hide command. You can do the same thing, and I encourage you to do so. As often as we use layers, it's nice to be able to have that easily available that you can just pop out and select. Please note that many employers use their own layer naming conventions. So, if you start with an employer, it might be worth asking them if they have template files for you to use, which have those already generated. So let's discuss a few of the layer manipulations here. This icon, New Layer, represents the ability to create new layers. This can also be achieved by right-clicking and creating a new layer. Dims. Either one works. Again, you can do it either way. What else do we have about hidden? Okay, so we've just created 3 new layers. Let's say we create another. All right, but let's say that was a mistake. We want to remove it. All we need to do is highlight that layer and delete it. We can also, again, delete it by right-clicking. And finally, of the basic commands here, we have the Set Current option. So let's say we want to set our object layers current. We would check this. The green check mark indicates that the layer has been selected. You can also double-click, left-click, and that will also make your layer current. As well as if you go up through your Layers panel, if you select this, you can double-click it or click it, and it will highlight that object as the active layer. Okay, so some features of the Layer Property Manager. We have the ability to turn on or off a layer, freeze a layer, lock a layer, change the color, line type, line weights, transparencies, and then some other features over here which we won't worry about. Actually, yes, if you lock a plot, if you see that little red circle with a line through it, you won't notice any difference in your drawing, but when you go to plot, you'll notice for some reason that particular layer, whatever was drawn on that layer, will not print. I've seen some first-year students get caught up in that. Just make sure that you leave these all as plottable. Also, there's a difference between freeze, thaw, and on-off. On-off, many people get the on-off and freeze-thaw mixed up. They're very similar. They behave almost the same way. This allows you to, if you have a whole bunch of lines drawn, you can turn them off. Anything drawn on that layer would just disappear. But keep in mind, if you turn something off, you can't see that layer, but AutoCAD can. And if you freeze that layer, neither you or AutoCAD can see the layer. So there is a subtle difference there. It used to be more of a performance issue. If you froze things, your AutoCAD, back when computers weren't quite as fast as they are today, wouldn't bog down as much. But today there's very little difference between the two. We can select colors. Let's say, for instance, we want to change our the color of our object layer. We can do that. If we want to change the line type, we can select this. And notice continuous is the default line type. We want to load, left click on load, and then find the hidden line type that we want. We'll select this one. You can double click or select OK, highlight it, OK, and now it's changed our line type here. So two of the more common things that you will adjust. Let's see. So let's look at an example drawing now where we already have some layers created. So we have this isometric drawing with 3 views, and we have some layers already created. Colors are already generated. We have some different line types here. You can see that the green check mark indicates that the object layer is active. You can see it's selected up here at the top in the layers control panel. So let's see. Here's a center line, which I don't believe we have drawn on this. No. So let's make this the active layer and take a look at this line type. I'll just draw this in the middle here. Notice these are hidden lines, these are solid lines, and this is a center line. You can tell it's got the dashes in the middle of the center line. That's used for indicating like a center line of a part where you might have multiple hole locations. So let's now look at how we can freeze this. One of the options that we can do is freeze a layer in a viewport, but not in your model. So if we look at this viewport, this is a viewport, and we have this center line drawn here. Let's say, for instance, that we want to freeze this in this viewport only, but not in our model. So let's go ahead and do that. So if we go to this viewport and we select the viewport and we go to our Layers Manager, you'll notice that there's a whole bunch more features available off to the right. So if we look at our center line layer and we want to freeze that, and now we look at our drawing, that center line has disappeared from the viewport. This is a really handy feature, and you notice it's still viewable in our model. This is a really handy feature for manipulating your drawings, what to show in certain viewports and others. Let's see. So a few more objects here in the Layers panel. If you want to select an object, say for instance, and turn on or off through the Layers control, you can do that. There's also a feature called Isolate. Let's say we want to isolate these layers. If we select that, it will turn everything else off except for that layer, which is pretty neat. You can see the little lock icon there next to the cursor. Very handy. And this feature, the unisolate, removes that. We have freeze and thaw. Again, lock and unlock. You can make a layer current simply by selecting it. Make current, which changed just to the dims layer. Or you can match a layer. We could select an item and say, I want to match this layer. And then you could change the actual destination layer of the object. Another command that's similar is the change prop, CHPROP command. If we initiate that, that allows us to, let's say we want to select these objects, change their layer to object layer, enter, and those hidden lines are now on the object layer. Keep in mind you can also highlight these objects and go to your palette, your properties palette, and change them through that option as well. As you can see, layer control is a very useful feature of AutoCAD. This concludes this session of The Joy of CAD. Enjoy!